Fried oysters. As the train departed from Kozu, Kensaku made his way to the dining car. It was an awkward time before bedtime, so there were about 14 or 15 passengers scattered among various tables. Most were in groups of 2 or 3, drinking beer or sake. Since Kensaku hadn't had dinner yet, he ordered a steak and chicken rice. After finishing the chicken rice, Kensaku suddenly noticed something. At the farthest table from where he was sitting, there was a woman seated with her back to him who resembled Aiko. The way her shoulders looked, the nape of her neck, and even her choice of clothing all reminded him of Aiko. He hadn't seen her in over 5 years, and aside from hearing that she had married a brilliant graduate of a commerce university, he knew nothing about her. However, her silhouette was something he could never forget, no matter the circumstances. Furthermore, the man seated across from her, seemingly her husband, had the air of someone who might be the commerce university graduate he'd heard about. Since she was seated, he couldn't tell how tall she was, but her upper body suggested that she would stand gracefully tall. Though he couldn't fully discern her fork-handling technique, there was a certain familiarity in the way she moved, distinctly Aiko-like. Kensaku had shared many meals with Aiko in the past. Yet, of all the women he had ever met, none were as shy as she was. No matter how hungry she might have been, she wouldn't touch a single thing in front of Kensaku. There were times when she would leave several dishes completely untouched. "Why don't you eat something? You'll get hungry." "No, thank you." "That's odd." "Well, I'm hungry, so I'll eat." "Go ahead, please." She stubbornly refused to eat anything. But over time, Kensaku realized there was one dish she would eat. That was fried oysters. Even the shy Aiko would help herself to fried oysters. "I love oysters. I could eat as many fried oysters as you like," she said. Without touching any rice, she would eat the fried oysters. Whenever Kensaku went to a restaurant with her, his first question was always, "Hey, do you have fried oysters?" And if they did, he felt relieved and entered. When spring came, and oysters were no longer in season, dining out with her became a challenge for Kensaku. However, she didn't seem to mind skipping meals in the slightest. Instead of rice, she constantly ate desserts and chocolates. Even after parting ways with her, Kensaku would think of her every time he saw fried oysters. He was sure that somewhere, she must be eating fried oysters. Seeing the woman who resembled Aiko from behind, Kensaku immediately remembered the fried oysters. He felt no need to stand up and walk over to confirm whether or not it was Aiko. Confirming it would only disturb both of their hearts. Moreover, he didn't want to cast even the slightest shadow over what seemed to be her happy married life. Eventually, the woman who resembled Aiko stood up. She appeared slightly taller than Aiko. However, she never turned to show her face and, leaning close to her husband, exited through the opposite side of the dining car. Kensaku thought that was fine. In the end, not confirming it was for the best. Since Aiko's car and Kensaku's were separated by the dining car, he was glad that, as long as he didn't force the issue, he could avoid confirming it altogether. However, when Kensaku called for the waiter to settle his bill, the waiter who came was the tallest one, the same one who had served the woman resembling Aiko earlier. As Kensaku paid, he couldn't resist asking, "Say, there was a couple you were serving just now, right?" "Yes, they were here." "Did the wife eat fried oysters?" "Yes, she did. After finishing her own portion, she even ate her husband's." A smile involuntarily appeared on Kensaku's lips, and he felt a tinge of loneliness. But he also felt happy for Aiko's happiness.